Okay, behind me is the 38 Zephyr project, and there's a bit of a story to tell why it's been a while since we've given an update. A lot of stuff's been happening that is not easily visible, but I'm going to talk to Mark, who's been working and fabricating on this car, and get an update from him on exactly what the details are that's been going on. Mark, we have a little story that's been going on since we last saw this car. And as I recall, where we left off, these artillery wheels got mounted up and they stuck out too far out of the fender.
Yep.
So I see now they are tucked in beautifully, but something's happened. So how did you do that? Can you walk me through what's happened? We'll start with the front end here. What happened?
We had to lose 4 inches out of the front end.
Okay.
To make up for the spindle adapters, the wheel adapters, the rotors, everything pushed the wheel further and further.
So it's 4 inches, and it's because
2 inches aside. So 4 inches had to come out of the axle to suck the wheels back into where they belong.
Okay, and this is because we were sure to use the original wheels, even though we had modified to use disc brakes. Does that sum it up?
Right, and there's no disc brake that has that bolt pattern. So you have to have the adapter in there.
Right.
Adding 3/8 of an inch of thickness to the assembly.
Okay, so go over again slowly. What did we add to add dimension? What added the dimension?
Okay. We changed the spindles.
Okay.
So they would accept the rotors. So now the Ford spindles required an adapter for the inner bearing for the rotor.
Okay.
So now we're pushed out another 1/2 inch, and we've got now a rotor instead of a drum, which is a wider assembly. And your 38 wheel has more offset to the outside than the 39 wheel.
Okay.
Okay, now with the adapter in there, to go from the 5-bolt pattern that's 4.5 inch to the 10-inch pattern, you have a 3/8 thick adapter. Okay, so all those numbers, both sides.
Right.
So it's times 2.
Right. So now
the total was 4 inches.
What were your options at that point?
That was about the only, either switch to the 39 wheels, which wouldn't give you the 38 look.
And it's a 38 car.
And it's a 38 car.
Right.
Okay. Or you start narrowing everything.
Okay. So let's go underneath here and see what got narrowed and how.
Well, okay. The I-beam axle had to be narrowed.
Now, we did a very short video on this being cut with that pattern.
Sectioned and welded back together.
You can barely see a little bit of weld there. Right. And so that beam got narrowed.
Right, which brought the assembly of the wheels into the fenders where they should be, where they were originally.
Okay, so you took a total of 4 inches out.
4 inches total.
Okay, all right.
4 inches aside. So now our drag length is 4 inches too long. Our tie rod is 4 inches too long. So everything had to be cut down to accommodate the narrower axle.
Right, and the spring is a 1 transverse leaf spring, right?
And that had to be cut down 4 inches as well.
How did you get that spring narrowed to match?
We took it to the spring shop and they cut and rebent the eyes to the dimension that I asked them to have.
Okay, so that's the spring.
So it's been narrowed as well.
And then we go underneath here and we see...
The drag length, the tie rod, those have both been shortened. Fairly easy process. Okay,
that's related to the steering.
Yeah.
And then what about connecting the geometry to the body?
Oh, when we narrowed the axle, the radius rod mounting points at the spring perches were narrowed as well.
Okay.
Which extended the radius rod 2 inches in length. So I had to cut the casting off of the ball end, shorten it 2 inches, re-weld it back in.
Wow.
So we're there now.
We're now there.
That's the front end.
That was a lot of work, and that's again,
the front end.
We did all that to keep these wheels.
We had the same issues with the rear end.
So let's walk around to the back and talk about that.
Okay, so we have a 9-inch Ford rear end.
Right.
We had it manufactured to the 39 length.
Okay.
And we had the fender interference problem on the rear because of the adapter and the wheels for the 38 again.
And again, this was a drum brake. In fact, wasn't it a mechanical drum?
Mechanical drum, no hydraulics.
Right, no hydraulics. So now we're hydraulics and a disc
Four-wheel
situation.
disc, yes,
Right.
hydraulic brakes. To Quick Performance in California, and had them make me a 4-inch narrower housing.
Okay.
And I took the axle shafts and cut them down and put them into the shortened housing.
Okay, so you basically divided this job into two pieces. One was the housing that they shortened for you, and the other was the axles inside the housing that you
Which
shortened.
needed shortening because of the house. So now we have the longer housing for the next 39 that we build is now written down as the dimensions for a 38.
Okay, and now what happened to the spring on this one?
The spring on this one, all I did was put longer shackles on it, and it was accommodating.
That wasn't as
We
big a
didn't have
problem.
to narrow this one. Keeps were taken out so it would relax.
Okay.
And we'll get a lower stance.
Okay.
But other than that, there was nothing having to be done.
What about the rest of the geometry here? Anything have to change?
That pretty much remained the same.
That worked out. Okay.
Yep. Yep. Those
Excellent.
are located and welded when the rear end's centered into the car.
Okay.
That just kind of falls into place.
So now, I mean, obviously you don't have wheels on to make it easy to work. I know you've been putting wiring in and
Yeah, we're doing electrical. We've
Plumbing.
got,
Is the gas tank all
hydraulic brake
plumbed in?
lines. The brakes are all working.
okay.
The gas line runs from the engine compartment to the gas tank.
Okay.
There's no engine yet.
Yeah.
So that'll hook
Okay.
to the fuel pump, and we'll be checking for leaks and making sure that all works.
Okay. And so, and at this point you're doing a lot of wiring in the engine compartment or?
Throughout the chassis while it's up.
Okay, right.
I'll do the engine compartment after the engine's in,
Gotcha. Okay.
because I'll have to work around that.
Well, that was a lot of work to get it right, but you know,
We're there.
but you got it. You got it done.
Now we can go
That's
on with making a driver.
that's quite a commentary on the persistence here of making it right. So
JB's persistent on making it.
Okay.
1938.
yeah, in 38. Okay, very good. Well, thanks for sharing that.
No,
I appreciate that, Mark.